So it's been about 7 months since I last speed tested the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. These two are on iOS 18 Beta 3. Let's go ahead and find out how they perform in this speed test. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's begin with a boot up in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, I am going to consider doing a update on my full comparison thoughts between these two, but in this episode, we're going to see how close is the 14 Pro Max, which is not getting Apple Intelligence, to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You see the 15 Pro Max on iOS 18 does boot up a couple seconds faster. You can see both with dynamic island, so essentially from the front, these phones look like they're the same exact phone, even though they are not. Alright guys, so when checking the Face ID, both of them do have it housed within Dynamic Island. You can see they unlock exactly the same. And let's go ahead and look again, and about exactly the same. You're probably wondering when you see these at the front, well, what's different? It looks like the same phone. The bezels are thinner. You can definitely see that on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but generally, biometrics is about the same experience. Going through here is also the same experience because both are 120 hertz panels here. So even on iOS 18 Beta 3, you're not going to notice a big difference. I actually found Beta 3 to be running really well, even on some older iPhones. So this is a really good software update for the iOS beta so far. I would say they cleaned up some bugs as well, and we're preparing for the public beta, so that should be out soon. Overall, though, just generally scrolling through, there is zero difference between these phones. They perform exactly the same, and I'm glad to say that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is performing very well, as in, I think it's going to have a really good year this year when we go to official 18. And even in Control Center, you'll see no differences whatsoever. The only area, again, that I found is giving me a little bit of an issue on every single iPhone, and it's not really an issue, but it's a little bit choppy, is in here. When you're adding controls, you'll see there's like this little jumping effect. It goes like this, like when you're going through. So that's just something to take note of. If you're looking for the ultra smooth everything, that's the only area within the betas that is kind of still needing some work. Maybe we'll see it in some future updates. All right, so I just want to confirm with you guys so you don't think I'm on some different versions between both of them. You guys can confirm it for yourself there. 22A 5307 F there for iOS 18. All right, so here we are at the app test. Everything is closed out for both. Let's begin with calendar. You could see about the same. We'll go into clock, about the same. And we are looking at the base apps here. Let's go into weather, a little faster on the left. Set up out of here. We'll go into calculator. And pretty much the same. Even the math notes shouldn't require too much. So all of that stuff should be similar. The scientific calculator, the basic one, all of that stuff is very simple, so this is not going to be a problem. Let's go into books, and you'll see maybe a hair quicker on the left. Let's go into App Store. Equal right there. And I was shocked at how well the 12 Pro Max did yesterday. I'm not even kidding. Set up out of here. We'll go into Groupon on both phones, and you'll see launching exactly the same there. So let's go into Twitter and X. And you see faster on the left. Let's go into my profile page. And that was a little snappier there on the right. Now, this is basically what I use most every day, and I'm sure you do too, is your applications. And honestly, the real upgrades to the iPhone 15 Pro Max have been, to me, better battery life over this time using it, better cameras, much better zoom. Let's go into eBay. Hold on. Now I got to open that up because it was in cache. Hold on. Let's go into eBay. The real upgrades have been better battery life, the camera zoom. The lighter weight body has been nice, although when you put a case on it, it kind of neglects that. eBay pretty similar here on both. Not a big major difference. All right, let's go into Amazon on both. And you can see faster on the left. Let's go into Starbucks. And that's faster on the left. We'll swipe up out of there. We're going to go into dead trigger. 3, 2, go. And looks like it's loading first. The games pull ahead on the iPhone 15 Pro Max for sure. Although it's not like as big as the leap between an older iPhone You can see right there. Let's go into Free Fire. I feel like the 14 Pro Max should have been the 15 Pro Max. Like, I feel like they should have did the same phone. Like, when the 14 Pro Max came out, they could have skipped or just went straight to a bigger phone, because the upgrades that the iPhone 14 Pro Max had over the 13 Pro Max were pretty minimal. So I feel like they should have skipped this and went straight to this. These were the bigger upgrades from the 13 Pro Max. And now if you held on and you skipped the 15 Pro Max, you're in for a treat this fall with the iPhone 16 Pro Max that's coming. That phone is probably going to have a larger screen, and it's probably going to be some surprising new feature upgrades that you might not be used to. Now, that wasn't fully fair because this was like loading up, something else. But generally, gaming is slightly more quick on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We're going to go into Subway Surfers, 3, 2, go. And you can see that's going to launch first there on the left. So pulling ahead even in casual. Yes, I know it's funny. It's nothing really. It's just a casual game. Yeah, but you can actually load that faster still on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Not that it really probably matters too much to you, but you can do it. There you go. See, even on a casual game. So if you're antsy waiting for, the train or whatever, you just want to pop that game open, doing whatever you're doing, you need a quick casual game to distract yourself, whatever you like to do when you're playing your casual games. The 15 Pro Max is going to get that thing open for you quicker. We're going to go into PUBG Mobile. Now, how about a more intensive game? PUBG Mobile. Let's see which one can get in there quicker. You can see the game modes duo pop up here for both phones. And the game modes are going to be, this is a new iOS 18 feature to close things in the background to give you better performance. And we'll hit OK. That needed an update. So let's go ahead and relaunch them one more time. But that game mode should allow you to get even better gaming performance than you used to get on older versions. So let's hit guest here. We'll hit accept. Agree. And I think I agreed first on the left, so it'll probably open a slight quicker. We'll go over here. We'll X this stuff out. It's the only thing with PUBG, they got like 1,000 things before you get into the game itself. But generally, I don't think, yeah, look at this. 75 steps just to get to the lobby. But here we go again. But overall, you're not going to even experience a very different feel because they both have dynamic island. They both have the same size. When you're playing a game, it's nothing really. Just faster loads, probably faster graphics, better sustained performance maybe. But look at Jetpack Joyride. Faster than the 14 Pro Max. Let's go into speed test. And you'll see speed test first on the left. And Geekbench 6 first on the left, and 3D Mark first on the left, and iMovie first on the left. So yeah, and that actually loaded something different. We could do that again though if you want. Now we're getting this thing over here. Man, all these pop-ups, I swear. We'll go into iMovie one more time, and you'll see. Overall, the difference in speed is a couple of seconds here and there on the 15 Pro Max, but iOS 18 Beta 3 performing great on both phones. All right, so I am aware that I accidentally closed 3D Mark, so I reopened it for the RAM management. Let's go into here. We'll go into here. And this is my favorite part of iPhones, really, is just how refined they are when it comes to just like RAM management, smooth feel, no choppy scrolling, none of that weird stuff. You don't get that on these Pro Max iPhones. And you haven't been getting that for years. I don't even feel that on the 12 Pro Max. So this is why I continue to use these products, because they got the software refined and polished. A lot of other, Android makers are starting to get to that point as well, which is why I think it's more exciting than ever to be a smartphone user. But at the same time, Apple seems to be one of the ones still doing its best. Let's go into Dead Trigger 2. And you can see 14 Pro Max performs like butter, like melted butter, actually. It feels that smooth on your hand when you're going through it, like melted butter. Let's go over here to calculator, weather, clock, and calendar. Look at that, nearly identical to the 15 Pro Max. All right, guys, so let's take it on to apple.com, 3, 2, go, and see what can happen. and you could see about the same. Let's learn more about the new iPad Pro. You can see very smooth on both. Let's go ahead and go into, how about Wikipedia? All right, so taking it on to Wikipedia, 3, 2, go. And you could see faster on the left. Let's take it into English, and you can see pretty similar experience on both there. And you can see not bad. So very good browsing on both and nearly identical performance. I wonder why the colors look a little more blue. Is it because I got True Tone on the other phone? Let me check. Yeah, also 15 Pro Max looks brighter for sure. All right, so we're gonna run Geekbench 6 here. Let me bring the brightness down a little bit on this one. A17 Pro on the left, 3.78 gigahertz. This is A16 Bionic, and this is 3.46 gigahertz, 6 gigs of RAM, which is the problem with no Apple Intelligence on the 14 Pro Max. And then we have 8 gigs of RAM on the right. I'll be back when they're done with the CPU benchmarks. Stay tuned. All right, so after about 5 minutes of testing, look at these scores. But what I want you to particularly pay attention to is the multi-core. What the heck? 6389 on the left, 6345 on the right. That means that the 14 Pro Max is only 40 points, 44 points, something like that, behind the iPhone 15 Pro Max. That is ridiculously small. And if you look at the single core, 150 points, that is not a big leap whatsoever. This is 6 core over here. You could see 6 core on the right, meaning that I just don't get it. Why is the 15 Pro Max or 14 Pro Max, besides the RAM, like why is it not getting the AI? I get it, the RAM thing, but look at these scores. These phones are nearly performing identically. So I feel like we should see Apple Intelligence maybe on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Probably not happening. Apple already decided on that, but that just irritates me. Let's go over here to Wildlife Extreme, and we'll go ahead and hit start. So I think that Geekbench proves that you didn't upgrade from a 14 Pro Max to a 15 Pro Max for the performance. That's for sure. I'll be back when they're done with this 3D Mark test, and we'll see what we get here in the GPU. All right, and in Wildlife Extreme, the picture is not very different either. Only 4 FPS different, 19.7 FPS average frame on the left with a 15.2, a 3293 on the left, 2543 on the right. So this is scoring better than 73% of devices, and the iPhone 14 Pro Max scoring better than 54%. Although I could have swore that was higher before on the 15 Pro Max, so maybe the beta is definitely not giving it its highest potential scores. But yeah, you can see about a 20% increase in the GPU for the 15 Pro Max. And then the actual gaming portion, that's kind of what it seemed like when we were launching the games. It seemed like we were loading them about 20% faster, as they were a couple seconds behind on the iPhone 14 Pro Max when launching games. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and run a Wi-Fi speed test here on both. We are connected to the same servers. And so we'll start with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, pulling in pretty respectable 500, near 500 down. I'm going to finish probably in the 4s somewhere, though. And then you can see on the upload, not nearly as good. So you can see around 22, 23. And there is a higher tier on my internet. I just didn't want to go that high. I didn't feel the need to go to the next tier up. Let's go into go now for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Will we get a better download and an upload? And let's see. And the 14 Pro Max looking like it's higher so far. What the heck is going on today with the 15 Pro Max losing in this test too? This is the same server, so I'm not exactly sure what that's about. 515 down on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, and you'll see around exactly the same on the upload, with a slight win to the iPhone 14 Pro Max, winning it out in this network test. Very strange. That doesn't really conclude that it has better network, but today it pulled in better speed than the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Last thing I want to do before we head up out of this video is go ahead and launch the cameras. I think it's time I get a new car soon. I've been using the Ford GT a little bit too much. I got my Cybertruck over there. You know what? Let's bring in the Cybertruck for this one. It's just a really big Cybertruck, so it doesn't always fit in the frame. But here it is right here. Let's bring him in there. Let's go ahead and bring that guy in there right there. Like that. All right, let's go ahead and launch the cameras here. See which one can do this faster. In 3, 2, go. Was that the 14 Pro Max? 3, 2, go. All right, we're in portrait for the 14, so let's go ahead and do it again. 3, 2, go. Yeah, it was the portrait mode that was loading. One more time. About the same there. We'll go ahead and hit the zoom. A lot more zoom for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. 10 times actually more. So overall, very good there in the cameras. We're wrapping things up here. Which one to buy? Probably neither at this point. Wait for the 16 Pro Max. If you want to get either of these from an upgrade and you're waiting for them to decrease in price, the 15 Pro Max is the one I would wait for, because as it decreases in price, it's also still going to support the new AI. So this will probably be the one to wait for if you're waiting for a decrease in price after the 16 Pro Max. But if you have a 14 Pro Max, iOS 18 is looking great. I think you're going to be really good for a whole year to come, even more years to come, especially if you don't really care about all this, built-in Apple Intelligence stuff just yet. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you all in the next comparison. Be sure to be well, and peace.